Hey, my name is Mohammed Abdullah Khan. Welcome to my presentation on New Age spirituality. New Age spirituality is a holistic subculture, evolving from religious views to a different type of belief system. This subculture generally is practiced by a dominant culture of hippies. Their attire, beliefs, and principles are very similar. Yet the evolution of this subculture has grown, as per generational requirements, as a symbolic violation of the social order. Such a movement attracts and will continue to attract attention, to provoke censure, and to act, as we shall see, as the fundamental bearer of significance in subculture. New Age spirituality has evolved from the counterculture of the 1960s, with their emphasis on Eastern philosophies, meditation, and psychedelic experiences, to modern incorporations of mindfulness, holistic wellness, and self-care. Contemporary manifestations tend to focus on personal empowerment through hybrid spiritual practices interacting with new media for more pervasive distribution, including online communities and wellness apps. Most individuals in the culture are very similar. The differentiating factor is in the mindsets of these individuals. New Age spirituality allows participants of the culture to break away from society's image of themselves and enables discovery and experience of the truth themselves. New Age spirituality helps identify the sacred in creation and our duties to conserve it as much as possible. As with style and subcultures, according to Hebdej, it is often hidden and is truly understood by those insiders. Clothing, music, and symbolic practices in which this aesthetic expression can be seen, and which challenge mainstream tastes and values. In Figure A, we can see a more modern hippie with influences from music and culture. Much of bohemian fashion trends' commercialization can overlook the deeper spiritual and cultural meaning that comes into play behind these looks. Thus, aesthetic styles that started out as oppositions to capitalist consumerism are sold back into the center of fashion culture, showing how styles are rendered inoffensive by commodification. In Figure B, we can see a hippie with influences from New Age spirituality. Fringe, beads, loose garments were symbols of a break from the rigid rules of society within New Age spirituality, initiated by these New Agers, derived from the hippie movement. This was a desire to return to nature, simplicity, a rejection of capitalist, materialistic culture of the time. In both cases, participants remain at the threshold of the joint of time, creating a sense of being homeless as they have removed the sense of their meaning of existence. In Figure A, we can see the type of symbolism seen as fractals associated with the experience of New Age spirituality. We have had to expand our definition of culture to cover all those expressive forms which give meaningful shape to group experience. Modern New Age spirituality is a movement that takes personal growth and spiritual exploration seriously. It is unlike traditional religion, tied to fixed doctrines by fixed institutions. Instead, it encourages people to make their own spiritual paths, which draw from a wide variety of beliefs and practices. In Figure B, we can see the more therapeutic typology used for relation to New Age spirituality. Psychedelic art is a medium through which spiritual awakening is facilitated, using fractals, vivid colors, and patterns of symmetry in order to emulate altered states of consciousness. Such visuals will create the feeling of being interconnected and transcendental. Immersive art installations and collective dance during festivals further heighten such spiritual journeys, plumbing deep into both shared and individual enlightenment. Dance culture is a virus which mutates as it spreads, and in the Midwest, they have taken rave and made it their own. Young people dance through the night not so much in warehouses or bunkers, but on ski slopes and in cowsheds. The music as well creates a public response of moral panic that seeks to track down and punish deviant youth culture. This, in turn, builds more deviancy in subgenres of the rave music. Currently, techno music has resurfaced into more recent popular songs as a club version of the music. The subculture has distinct domains of subterranean values, were argued to offer magical solutions to the structural problems of class. Figure A shows us a music festival in the 1970s, popular with hippies and fans of Pink Floyd, as a form of resistance against the frenetic and fast-paced nature of modern life. New Age spirituality therefore offers a style of resistance, incorporating ideals of self and holistic well-being within an inner reflective framework of personal spiritual growth. New Age subculture's core values are realized through the visual and sensory aesthetics. Figure B shows us a more recent techno festival and the development and growth that has taken place so far. New Age spirituality is largely defined by a rejection of institutionalized religious dogma to discover oneself spiritually. It is consistent with Barker's notion of youth resistance. Many youthfulnesses of New Age spirituality initially came from youths on new roads away from mainstream religious structures. Recycling personal autonomy and self-empowerment is a recurring motif within the subculture of spirituality, as most see it as something deeply personal and not to be dictated by religious authority. Youth can be seen as momentarily enjoying the taste of liberty. Youth cultures exhibit the stylization of life or systemic commitment which orients and organizes the most diverse practices that develops as the objective distance from necessity grows. But moreover, they spend less time and money on music. They are known to spend more on their participation in music culture. On the face of it, subcultural capital should be a currency that corresponds with and validates unequal statuses. Thornton defines subcultural capital as a status and prestige that participants in a subculture gain based upon their knowledge and the extent to which they participate in a subculture's unique practices and values. In the New Age spirituality subculture, cultural capital could be achieved by achieving mastery of various spiritual practices, such as meditation, astrology, or Reiki healing, for example. The more status one will gain within the subculture is owing to the more knowledge one has about these practices and their spiritual significance. The word subculture is cryptic. It means secrecy, Masonic oaths, an underworld. The larger and no less difficult concept of culture is also invoked, and it should begin with the idea of culture. As with a broader pattern of subcultural studies, subcultures which originate as countercultural entities that resist dominant frameworks are later incorporated and sold by that subcultural mainstream. The majority of youth fosters a refusal of complicity that might be said to characterize the New Age movement. Youth do not have as much social place for loosened ties with family, but not settled with a partner, or not settled in an occupation. Leisure affords youth the opportunity to reject even further being fixed socially. Instead, they can procrastinate social aging, or, as one might put it, slow renunciation or disinvestment. People who, in various ways, adjust their aspirations to their objective chances, espousing circumstances to become what they are and to make do with what they have. Most importantly, in most cases, New Age spirituality takes place against the cultural backdrop of a rejection of institutional religious dogma, in favor of individual spiritual exploration. It is also consistent with Barker's idea of youth resistance for many of the New Age's adherents who have been members of younger generations, from whom they were initially attracted because they were seeking to develop their own spiritual path outside orthodox religious boundaries. A recurrent theme in the subculture is on personal autonomy and self-empowerment, a dimension of spirituality which is perceived as personal rather than dictated by religious authorities. Holism is a central concept in spirituality of this age, which is of the New Age. Healing and good health are a part of spiritual growth, and many of those who follow believe in and endorse alternative healing tactics alongside standard medical approaches. New Age spirituality challenges materialism through minimalism and conscious consumption, focusing on inner growth rather than monetary wealth. It dares to challenge capitalism through bartering, communes, and eco-conscious living that contrasts with the profit-oriented approach. It also goes against organized religion by embracing a more individualized, eclectic approach towards spirituality, borrowing from elements of various traditions that range from meditation and energy healing to astrology. This rejection is elaborated in rituals such as group meditation, crystal healing, and sacred ceremonies like solstice celebrations that underline harmony with nature and community. Daily practices involving mindfulness, affirmations, and ethical consumption are manifestations of this resistance in personal empowering ways and spiritual connections other than what mainstream structures provide. In conclusion, I hope you have understood the way New Age spirituality challenges capitalism and can offer a refreshing perspective on collective consciousness and personal growth. This subculture has become a global phenomenon and has spread a movement of mindfulness, wellness, and spiritual understanding. New Age practices have helped develop unity in various communities. With help of online platforms and social media, this shows how powerful self-discovery and spiritual exploration can be in creating communal connections. Thank you for your time.